Hello, welcome to Programming Made BC, and in this tutorial we will see yet another episode on Flask tutorial. So in the last tutorial we saw how we can make a Python function run on the server side and how we can invoke these functions using API handlers that is created using Flask. So in this tutorial we will see how we can make use of HTML pages and invoke these functions. So basically when we are speaking about web applications, we mostly need to invoke these server side programs from the web page, right? So that is why we are going to see how we can invoke these server side programs from a simple web pages that is being displayed over here. So here if you see over here, this is a very simple HTML page. Okay, so in this the action of the form is given as this link. Okay, so this is running, it is calling a login URL, okay, which is running in the local host at port 5000. So local host means it will be at 127.0.0.1. Okay, so and if you see this function over this Python code over here I am having the handler local, okay, route local login, which is associated with this login function. Okay, so now once I run this code, okay, let me just run that code so it's get example. Yeah, once I run this code, it is running in this local host and at the port 5000. Okay, now when I click on this, nothing happens. Okay, this is because if you see this code over here, there is no function associated with the just a slash symbol, right? There is no route is specified, a route URL is specified in associated with that slash symbol. That is why nothing happens. It is giving no, not found error. Okay, so it is just that on the server side this program is running, and when we are having a handler login, this function will be called. Okay, now let us go. This is a simple HTML page. This you can have it in a notepad. You can save it anywhere and you can just run it as a normal HTML page. So I'm just loading this HTML page over here. So if you see, this is the HTML page I am having over here. So it is having the there is a input box which is taking the name, then there is a password box which is taking the password, and then there is a submit button over here. So that is what is given over here. If you see, there is an input type test and the name associated with this uname. Then there is another one, password. Its input type is password, so that when we enter it will come as encrypted, and its name is given as pass. Then we have a submit button. So once the submit button is submitted, this action will be triggered, right? And the method associated with it is get. Okay, let us see how it works, then I'll explain it in more detail. Okay, so if you see over here, I am entering the name Liji, entering the password 1234, I am submitting. Okay, so if you see, it has changed. So login 5000 means localhost 5000, then it is calling login. Okay, if you see in the action, this is what we have mentioned, right? See, in the action part we have mentioned that, right? We have mentioned it as the like that login. Okay, now if you see over here, it is passing the uname equal to Liji and pass equal to 1224. Let us understand why. Here the method, or here we have method that we have given is get. Okay, so whenever we are passing parameters using the get method of HTTP, it will be displayed in the URL. That is why it is been displayed over there. So what it's happening is over here, it is calling the URL login. It goes to this login function because this URL is attached with this function, right? And this is running in the port 5000 on localhost. Okay, so what we are doing, we are going we are getting it using request.args.get. Okay, so request is again a function given by Flask. Okay, we are getting it using request dot args. Okay, so it is there in the argument. So request dot args dot get. Okay, dot get uname. Okay, if you see over here, here we are passing here. This is how it is coming in the argument. We have uname equal to lg and pass equal to 1234. Okay, why it is coming like that? It is because in the HTML page we have given the name as uname and pass over here. Okay, yes, so we are getting it and saving into uname, and the password also we are getting and we are saving into this password. Then we are checking if uname equal to lg and password equal to 1234, then we are returning the response as a string, that is welcome lg. Okay, otherwise we return wrong username and password. That is what is happening. So once we return a string, it will again display in an HTML page. We know that, right? Okay, so here in this case you saw that in the on the browser URL itself. Okay, the browser URL itself, the username and password is displayed, which is not very secure means of transmitting any details, right? You cannot just go on transmitting the URL and the password on the browser URL itself, right? Username and password on the URL itself. So what we can do is, here instead of this get, we can change it to the HTTP method post. Okay, now let us see how that works. Okay, so we'll just stop this function, this script, get example script, and I will now we will see how this how we can get parameters when you are using post HTTP method. Okay, so I'm just running this. Now this will run in the pod. Okay, so here what is happening, we have mentioned the method is post, and in the login what it is doing, it is request dot form. Okay, from the form, if you see the HTML page over here, the form is coming. It is a form that we are having, right? So in the form it is taking request. We are getting the request from the request from the user, right? So request dot form, then we are from the form we are getting the uname. Okay, so the whatever value we enter in that input test, you will get it here. And similarly pass also we are getting like that, and you will be getting it over here. Okay, then we are doing the same processing. So the compared to post, this is one change. Get method, this is one change we will be doing here. Here the method is mentioned as post, but in case of get, here the method was mentioned as get. In the HTML page also we are mentioning it as post. Okay, now let us run this and we'll see this. Okay, so I am opening it again. So here I am giving it Ligi. I am giving the password 1234. I am submitting welcome Ligi. But if you notice over here in the URL, the username and password is not passed through the URL. Got it? Okay, but the response remains the same. Okay, so the difference between get method and post method of HTTP is that if it is get, the parameters, the data that we are passing, it will be appended to the URL and any third person can view the data. Okay, in case of post, the data we are passing, okay, it won't be passed through the URL. It can be passed through many other different methods. It can be through the form data, it can be through JSON, but anyway it won't be passed through the URL. Okay, so here again only change in the HTML file is we made it as post. Okay, but in the code what we are doing is we are using request dot form. Here we got the data from the user through the request. Okay, and we are you getting it using the form. Okay, you can get it used as a JSON file also. It can be any way we can get it, and in that manner we'll get it over here. Okay, the way it is transferred we can get it in the code. Okay, here it is form, that's why I'm getting it as like this. Okay, so I'm getting it, and the same procedure is happening compared to the if you see it against the get example. Okay, now here if you remember in the last tutorial we have seen that we can call a function, we can attach a function using this slash, and whenever the function is whenever the script is run, that will be loaded. Okay, we can get it. Okay, so here in that case what we are using a render template. Okay, so this is yet another function provided by Flask. What it does is it loads an HTML page over here. Okay, so instead of running the HTML page directly, here what we are doing is we are trying to load the HTML page from the program itself. Okay, so now let us just run this code. Let us just run this code. I'll show let's difference. So I'm running this code again. I'm clicking on this. I'm getting this page where name and password is mentioned. Got it? So earlier when we tried to take it like this, no HTML page appeared over there, right? That is because that time we were not mentioning it to display the HTML page. Nothing was mentioned over there for that home page, right? No function was attached to the home page. Here now we are attaching a function with the home page, and in the home page we are we are asking it to load this HTML page. Okay, so that is how we can load an HTML page using Flask. Okay, so now again it will work the same thing. I'll add something over here, some data. I'll submit. It will say wrong username and password. Okay, obviously that is what we have given over here, right? Wrong username and password. Okay, now suppose, see, this is another HTML page. Okay, now suppose you want to have some Python data in an HTML page. Okay, like hi, and I want to display the name over here. Okay, name over here, which is a variable that is coming from the request. If I want to do that, if you want to display some variable in the HTML page, then we can do it using these brackets. Okay, but you have to mention it double times, give the curly braces, then you give the variable name, then you will be able to display the some variable on the HTML page. Let us see how this is done. So here again I am having a similar code. Okay, only difference is that if the username and password is matching, I am rendering another HTML page. Okay, so that is response.html. So this is as a response. Instead of just giving the response as a string, I am rendering an HTML page again, and here I am giving hi and this name. Okay, so and the name I am passing it in the return itself. With the render HTML page itself, I am passing the name that I want to display over there. Okay, so let us just run this. So I'm taking this, I'm giving some data Liji, I'm giving the password 1234, I'm submitting. It gave me the HTML page that I attached over there. Okay, so in the response.html, if you see it properly, here we are mentioning a CSS also, right? CSS also we are mentioning, so that is present in this static CSS folder. Okay, and all the HTML pages that we need to have, it should be coming in the templates folder. So if it is not present in the templates folder, then you should be mentioning the exact path in the HTML, this in the um, render template function. Okay, he will have to mention the full path. Okay, if the HTML is present in the templates folder, then it's fine, you can do it like this also. Okay, so now let us read another HTML response. So the in the previous HTML page we just saw how we can add a variable, right? Now if you want to have some Python code inside it, inside the HTML page, then this is how we can do that. For each sentence, for each statement, what you will have to do it, you will have to open the curly braces followed by a percentage, then you give the Python statement. Okay, so the Python statement should be enclosed between this kind of parameter things. Okay, so it has to be the curly braces and a percentage. So what I'm doing is I'm just checking if the name whatever is passed is Liji, I'm just displaying hi Liji. Okay, this I'm doing with h1 header. So this, if you see over here, this is an HTML code. Okay, this is a Python code. Okay, and else what I'm doing, I'm giving wrong username password, then I'm giving the variable name again. Okay, then I'm just mentioning okay if is over. Okay, so let us just see how this can be done. So I'll make this HTML response too. So same thing I will add over here also. Okay, so I'll just run this now. So you give the username, you give the password. So it calls the other response page, HTML page. Okay, it is giving highlight. So let me just run show another example. I am taking this and giving some wrong username and some wrong password. I'm submitting, so it is telling wrong username and password for that user. Okay, so it is behaving as per the CSS that is mentioned over there, and we are rendering the HTML template response to. Okay, so today what all things we have seen, we have seen the difference between get method and post method, how we can send the parameters while using get method and post method, how we can use the HTML pages to invoke the Python functions, how we can render an HTML page as a in the initial stage or as a return request, or we have seen that also. Stay tuned for the next tutorial. I'll be coming up with a small application problems in Flask. Thank you.